I imagine in the classical world, they would go, oh, I'm not surprised at all that she ended up making a movie of something and that she's showing her acting skills because that's what she's known for.
Tu es gentil. Tu es gentil.
This, I really genuinely think people will go on a journey that they weren't anticipating.
I love people to tune into it, find themselves hooked, get swept away into the story and kind of not realize they've just witnessed an opera.
Laisse-moi parler. Ne t'accuse pas.
Hi all, this is Silas Ram, AsianCultureVulture.com. How are you doing? I'm delighted you could join. We're talking about something a little bit special now. It's called La Voix Humaine, the human voice, originally written by the French writer Jean Cocteau in 1930 and then adapted for an opera by his friend Francis Poulenc in 1958. It's now been turned into a BBC opera film and stars opera singer Danielle de Niese, who has Sri-Lankan heritage, and is directed by James Ken. Danielle joined us on holiday, and you'll see why, and we're going to be meeting James in London.
Alors, chérie, où es-tu?
It's not a filmed opera. It's the first thing to say. It's a film that happens to be an opera.
Je n'ai rien mangé. Je ne pouvais pas. J'étais très malade.
Incredibly intense and emotional and quite naturalistic. Whereas an opera obviously is quite big and almost Bollywood. Right. This is more European, perhaps, in its feel.
What was uppermost in your mind in kind of getting it right? What was the main challenge for you as a director?
Yeah, very good question. I think, in a way, when you hear the opera on YouTube and things, this female character who's on the phone to her lover the whole evening trying to persuade him not to dump her, it's quite hysterical, I would say. She's very desperate, which I think is a product of the era. It was written in the 50s. We are now living in the post-Me Too movement, the fourth wave of feminism, as some people call it. And as a result, I don't think younger women especially would perhaps gravitate towards that kind of performance. So I took the hysteria out of it. I made it much more credible. It's a kind of phone call many of us might even have made in our lives to somebody who had dumped us, or perhaps we've received it from somebody we've dumped. And I think as a result, you get something much more believable and something much more emotional that you want to stay with over the 50-minute duration of the opera.
J'ai décidé d'avoir du courage et j'en aurai. J'ai ce que je mérite. J'ai voulu être folle et avoir un bonheur fou.
How excited are you both about bringing this film to a new audience? The fact that it's on TV and it's an operatic, it's very operatic in its scale, and it's beautiful to look at, and you're fantastic at both the singing and the acting. Was that a real motivation to do this film?
Piece was written so long ago when the phone was new, and yet the concepts that follow this piece about the sort of both connectivity and the dangerousness of the phone in being able to both connect and separate you, it couldn't be truer today.
Le téléphone deviendrait une âme effrayante, une âme qui ne laisse pas de traces.
So, because we have all this catfishing, have all these ways in which people can mask themselves, and it's really interesting. In the acting world, there's a great Italian saying which says il velo svela. So it means the mask actually reveals. It's a play on words in Italian, but we can put a mask on, and that allows us to reveal our true selves in that very kind of Shakespearean way. And the phone it's providing multiple masks, because of course the viewer can see what Ella's really going through, but we can also see her creating an illusion for her lover to save face, to save herself, to save her dignity, and we have to sort of uncomfortably watch that unravel.
Je te joue la comédie. Moi, tu me connais. Je suis incapable de prendre sur moi. Pas du tout.
A lot of people have used the word uncomfortable. They sort of like can't look away, but it's uncomfortable. I don't think we kind of planned to lean into the film in that way, but you know, it wasn't like part of our treaties. Like, oh, we're going to make this film as raw and uncomfortable. It was just sort of like, it was just that revealing that much of ourselves through the lens, through James's direction, through the kind of ambiance as well that was created on the set that allowed me to do that, because it's not very easy to sustain an intimate scene.
Never really intended to get quite as close to Danny as we did for chunks of the film, but it felt like she's on this phone, and so I felt drawn in the whole time to her ear, to her phone, to her mouth, to almost hearing him on the other end. And so it becomes incredibly intense and tightly shot. I think people won't be able to anticipate what it is. And I think that's always exciting for people, because obviously, you know, if it is La Traviata, or there's a preconception of what that is going to be. As wonderful as it is, this, I really genuinely think people will go on a journey that they weren't anticipating, like an immersive, emotional journey of watching one woman on a phone for more than 50 minutes and going on her journey.
I think that's the journey I went on. You know, that's what you're describing.
It's like opera, but it's also film and it's documentary. How many people in this new age of Tinder and internet deceit will have experienced technology as not a honest tool? There'll be so many people who will start to reveal, the film will reveal itself to them. Oh my God, I'm starting to really understand how she feels. That's what I'm excited about.
Is it something you've always wanted to do?
Yes. I think La Voix Humaine has definitely been on a list of roles that were absolutely for me. I wouldn't say that throughout my career I had it in my mind to make a movie out of it, but it was really during the lockdown that it came to fruition in that way. So I think a lot of people in the opera world would probably say that the acting element to my operatic performances is something that definitely stands out and is something that people remark upon as an artist. So I imagine in the classical world, they would go, oh, I'm not surprised at all that she ended up making a movie of something and that she's showing her acting skills, because that's what she's known for. But certainly for other people and other people who I've met or who have seen the film who know me but don't know me as an actor have been able to then say, well, oh my gosh, the acting skill in this film is something I wasn't expecting from an opera singer. So I hope that answers it. It's a bit of both, really.
Hello, Mademoiselle en coupe.
And then working with James, I mean, you didn't have any prior working relationship. You came together for this project. So how was that?
Yeah. Well, it was amazing. I mean, so when James and I first came together, there was still lots of developmental ideas happening. So it could have ended up on a council estate. It could have ended up in English. Yeah. And part of what happens in that beginning phase is that you bring a director in and the director goes, I've kind of got an idea and this is what I can see. And so James drew up this incredible vision document, which was just absolutely spectacular.
For me, it was a real ear opener. I'm not going to say eye opener, but ear opener to see a singer give notes, seek perfection, ask for alterations, so that we ended up with something that is 100% perfect. what I would suggest, if you are going to watch it on iPlayer or on your laptop, is to use headphones. That's the critical thing, that the sound is when you've got the Royal Opera House Orchestra and you have a soprano of the caliber of Danielle de Niese, it is the sound that is the most transporting part of the process. And, I humbly confess to that. And so put headphones in, listen to it, because that is what makes such a huge difference. And in a funny kind of way, if you have headphones, it's almost better than seeing it in the cinema.
Danny, if I can come back to you and your kind of pathway into opera, did you feel very conscious of being a brown girl, a person of South Asian descent, going into a world which is almost monochronically white? It's very old school. I don't know what it was in Australia when you were there.
At the time, in my school, for example, I was the only brown-skinned person. I knew that, but I didn't feel singled out, I guess, because of it. And I definitely was aware. I don't know that I was so aware about how white the operatic world was, mainly because my parents, the person they pointed me to as the role model was Dame Kiri Te Kanawa. So I would watch these concerts with Kiri Te Kanawa, with Kathleen Battle, Jesse Norman, Frederica von Stade. So to me, I saw people of all colors. I saw Black Americans, white Americans. Kiri was a New Zealander with mixed descent, and very much my parents were going, Kiri's from the Southern Hemisphere, you're from Australia, the Southern Hemisphere. Kiri has a mixed background, you have a mixed background. If Kiri can win the Sun Aria competition and become a famous opera singer, so can you.
Je ne me croyais pas si forte.
It's Danny's birthday today.
Oh my God! Happy birthday!
This is especially generous of you, Danny, to give us your time.
Oh, it's so amazing! I was going to say that.
Thank you for your support for the piece, and you writing about it will obviously also highlight the fact that there's a multicultural aspect to this. And I feel very proud to be who I am, which I've always been that, but now it's being celebrated, I guess, in a different way. It's being highlighted. And my mom sort of made a joke the other day. She said, "Oh, it took like 40 years and now being babe is really cool."
Thank you so much for your time. You've both been very good. Happy birthday, Danny. I really hope we'll get the chance to talk again, maybe about your future work together. So thank you, and all the best with La Voix Humaine. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye. Thank you. And you.